Hey everybody, RC here. Let's talk about how to be able to do that Doverfield text. Click on File, click on New, and we'll go ahead and we'll make it 1900 by about 900 at about 150 dpi. We'll call that Doverfield text. First thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to fill this with black. It's going to make it a lot easier for me to be able to see. And let's go ahead and select the selection tool. And you're finding this a lot on the internet. If you wind up just doing a search, you have AFK Lampenborg text, which is the text that they're using for the recent movie Cloverfield. I'll go ahead and I'll select a white, and I'm going to go ahead and type in Doverfield. Now, I'm going to do a Command Enter and just bring this over here to the center. A couple of things to keep in mind is when you wind up getting this font, you're going to wind up seeing it this tight. So you want to make sure that you wind up getting the spacing of the letters just right. And you can go ahead and just single click right here and just drag it to the left and to the right until you get it exactly the way you want it. Once you wind up doing that, you'll be pretty much all set. Now, it has this kind of blur that they wind up running in the background. So the best way for us to be able to do this is going to be to just come over here to the Doverfield text. We'll go ahead and create a new layer, and I'm going to right click on the layer, and I'm going to go ahead and turn that to a smart object. So now I can go ahead and apply a blur to it. So I'm going to go to filter, I'm going to go to blur, and I'm going to apply a motion blur. Now let's talk about the motion blur. This section here lets us deal with the angle. If I wind up putting this pointing up and down, you'll notice that the angle, the motion blur angle, goes up and down. And the distance calculates just how much we wind up seeing that. So what I wind up usually doing here is I'm just going to set it to an angle of 0 so that it goes left and right. And notice you can play with the distance as well. So once you have it exactly the way that you want it, let's push the distance a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. There's the blur. But what I want to do is I want to take this and glow it as well. So now I have a layer that has a smart filter that has a motion blur. I can just go ahead and double click right here, and that's going to let me access an outer glow. Now, you got to play with this a little bit, and this is going to be depending on what size you're working on, it's going to wind up changing. So you're going to wind up doing a lot of this to taste. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to increase the size of this so that it gets really glowy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease the opacity to bring it down a little bit. And the spread, I'm going to wind up keeping really small. I can even go ahead and come over here to the color, and I'll go ahead and I'll give it a little bit more of a yellow color so that I can see it. Once I have that set, I'm going to go ahead and click OK. That's looking good. However, I want to be able to kind of knock out that area so that it really lets that text kind of come through and the glow sits in the background. Right now, I don't want the glow running into the letters themselves. So the last thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to command click this layer here that I have with the text. And what that'll do is that'll highlight all of the text. But I still have this Doverfield copy highlighted. From there, I'll go ahead and I'll hold on the Option key and I'll click on Add Layer Mask. And what that does is creates a mask around this entire thing, and it hides this portion of the glow. So if anything spills over into that area, it gets knocked out by that mask. So I'm going to hold on the Shift key just to show you the before and the after. If you hold on the Shift and click before, after. Before, you can see it in the R and the E here. So there you have it. Quick Doverfield text using smart filters and masks.